And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:07 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
Proving that you can fall nowhere but up in California politics, an organization called the LGBTQ Victory Institute held their Hall of Fame ceremony this week. And guess who they have inducted into the LGBTQ Hall of Fame, John?
Well, you left the B out the first time. I thought, what did they do? Excommunicate the bisexuals?
They've always been kind of iffy on the bis.
Who is it?
Enough of me talking. Would you please give a warm round of applause to our next LGBTQ Political Hall of Fame inductee, Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
Oh, my God.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
You have to be kidding me.
Ricardo Lara is in the LGBTQ Hall of Fame for, I'm not really sure why.
Who else was on the ballot?
It doesn't matter what he has done as insurance commissioner. It doesn't matter that he is almost personally responsible for the disaster that is our insurance market. None of that matters because he was the first openly gay elected statewide member of this government. That's all that matters to these organizations.
I may be criticized and dragged through the mud for it and get my wig snatched, as the gay guys say.
This is exactly what happened with Shang. Remember that?
Oh, because she's the first Hmong.
Yeah, I'm not alleging that the door swings both ways, but yeah. No, when she was first elected, CBS News did a big profile on her, and the only thing they talked about was the fact that she was the first Hmong to be elected to a large office in California.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all that matters to certain organizations. It's all about what your classification is, not what your credentials are.
Nobody cared that she was incompetent. Nobody cared that she was corrupt. Nobody cared that she was going to drive that city into the ground. It was only that she was a Hmong.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
Well, Johnny, I've got the 10-minute acceptance speech. Should we dip in?
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh my God, they put Ricky Martin. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they made him walk up to Ricky Martin.
Wait, Ricky Martin was there?
No, they played his Playing On song. They had him walk to the stage to Living La Vida Loca.
Well, we're all living La Vida Loca because none of us can buy insurance.
Oh my God, they put Ricky Martin. That's hilarious. I mean, I wanted the cure, but it's okay.
Oh, boy, you're aging yourself, Ricardo.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to be here. You know, God.
How many Palisades and Altadena residents are still trying to get their claims covered or still trying to get the insurance companies to fill their end of the contract? And what's Ricardo Lara busy doing? He's going on his own special award season.
Well, no one in that room cares about those people.
God, I'm with my family. It feels so good to be in my community. You know, standing here today.
Felt as good as when he went to Columbia for that LGBTQ conference.
Or how about New York City to see DJ Kitty Glitter?
Oh, he loves them.
I'm truly humbled being inducted into the LGBTQ Victory Institute Political Hall of Fame. It's not really just a personal...
Who else is in this Hall of Fame?
I would love to know.
Because I'm sure, living or dead, they don't want to be associated with Ricardo Lara.
If what you're trying to do is highlight a gay or lesbian elected official who deserves recognition, wouldn't you try to find someone whose work warrants that? Not just because they happen to be gay and were able to get elected to an office. If they use that office for corrupt reasons, why would you want to honor that person?
Literally today, the LA Times, who's now actually investigating Ricardo Lara, found some sweetheart deals that Ricardo Lara made with reinsurance companies, which is why now insurers can pass on the cost of reinsurance to the ratepayer. And it was the reinsurance lobby that flew him to Bermuda.
It's not really just a personal honor. It really recognizes the communities that raised me, the movements that helped shape me, and the people who believed in me.
Like all the politicians that were corrupt that you worked for, that you looked up to?
Okay, so he's talking about this in terms of altruistic thinking. If fairness and equality and justice are things that he values, and he believes that he got that from the gay community, the lesbian community, and that was what they bestowed on him, don't you think that would be reflected in how he treated fire victims or how he treated people who have a contract with their insurance company and the insurance company isn't holding up their end of the bargain and the California Department of Insurance refuses to stand up for the homeowners? Wouldn't you think that those principles would shine through and would be his North Star on how he conducted himself while in office?
And the people who believed in me.
Maybe what got him into the Hall of Fame was the safari trip.
Could have been.
When the odds seemed really unsurmountable. I grew up
Unsurmountable?
Close enough.
I grew up the son of Mexican immigrants from East Los Angeles, California. Parents who really instilled in me the values of hard work.
Well, you haven't shown us any of that.
He's the guy that doesn't show up to any of the meetings.
Dignity.
He didn't show up when State Farm wanted to raise rates and they had their hearing in Oakland. He announced what his decision was going to be before the hearing took place and didn't bother showing up.
That's Ricardo Lara.
The values of hard work.
He's probably collecting another award.
Dignity and service. They reminded me daily that our voices matter, even when the world and now.
By the way, he's not speaking off the cuff. He wrote these remarks.
Oh, I'm sure the state of California paid someone handsomely for these remarks, too.
Even when the world and now our own government tells us otherwise. These lessons guided me on my journey to become the first openly gay person of color in the California State Senate.
There's a lot of qualifiers.
That's what's important, checking all the boxes. It doesn't matter what his performance was. The only thing that matters is that he checks the boxes.
And the entire campaign for him being insurance commissioner had nothing to do with insurance. It was all about him breaking that glass ceiling.
And running against Donald Trump.
And as Evan said, later the first openly LGBTQ plus statewide elected official in California's history as insurance commissioner, leading only, of course, the one and only Harvey Milk. Who would have thought that a kid from East Los Angeles and somebody as great as Harvey Milk were going to be connected?
I don't think anybody wants to associate Harvey Milk with you.
If Harvey Milk were around today and he found out that you're attaching yourself and your performance as insurance commissioner to him, Harvey Milk would become lactose intolerant.
In the beautiful state of California, like we are. You know, throughout my career, I've had the privilege and the challenge of being the first, like many of you, for many times. And
That's why he's so bad at his job. Discrimination.
In California in 2025.
For many times. And these milestones were not just personal victories. They represented really collective breakthroughs for communities that long have been marginalized. How
about fire victims?
How is it that the gay community benefits from him being elected insurance commissioner when no one can get the money that's owed to them?
This organization needs to be investigated. I'll tell you that very much.
As a legislator, I swung to the fences and didn't accept no for an answer, like many of you.
Yes, this is actually the guy responsible for decriminalizing illegal street vending. Thanks, Ricardo Lara. If you want to know why you can sell stolen goods in the Mission and the police can't interfere, Ricardo Lara is the reason.
And back then, that was sold to us as equality because he believed a lot of people who were here illegally were doing it.
When others hit a wall, we found ways around it. And I was proud to create the first ever Health for All Kids, giving undocumented children access to free health care.
Which is bankrupting the state.
We ended incarceration for our youngest children in California and
How's that working out?
We emptied the prisons.
And secured a path for driver's license for undocumented Californians. Policy.
Okay, how did those undocumented truck drivers do?
I guess this crowd's going to applaud anything.
I guess. I mean, what else can he hit them with?
Policies that position our state as the model for equity and inclusion.
If we make every town in California look like Oakland, that's progress.
I bent my colleagues' ears, as Evan told you, and yeah, I twisted a few arms. So undocumented.
I heard you did more than that.
Uh-oh.
So undocumented youth could have access to higher education and financial aid. And as insurance commissioner, I am.
Oh, here we go. Let's hear what he's going to tout as his accomplishments in the job that he has been corruptly gallivanting around the world with.
Oh, this should be good.
And as insurance commissioner, I embrace the truth behind the.
Did he say commissioner?
I think he did.
And as insurance commissioner, I embrace the truth behind the expression that my mom always says, no hay mal que por bien no venga. And lately, there's a lot.
Are you going to translate that for me?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
No hay mal que por bien no venga.
All right. There are plenty of Spanish speakers in the audience. If you could email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Tell us what he is saying here.
No,
Well, he's got to translate it. This audience is not a Spanish-speaking audience entirely.
This audience is drunk and they're not listening to a word he says.
No hay mal que por bien no venga. And lately, there's a lot of bad in my state.
What?
I don't know what that means, so.
Well, we have to wait about 40 seconds for the delay, but I'm sure at some point the emails will be coming in, and we appreciate them.
And lately, there's a lot of bad in my state.
I wonder how much of that is directly attributed to you.
A lot of it.
Deadly wildfires, destructive floods, people being snatched from the streets, from my
Like the Whigs.
There's a lot of snatching going on.
from my community, outdated insurance regulations designed for an era of payphones and pagers. Remember those?
Oh, he's the hero
Hamas
in this
does.
story.
Outdated insurance regulations designed for an era of payphones and pagers. Remember those?
Are you really going to go up on this stage? I mean, I'm sure these people have no idea who you are or what you do, but you're going to tout the California insurance crisis as a success?
Well, what do the illegals being deported have to do with insurance?
Nothing.
That, are not meeting the supercharged reality of the 21st century climate crisis that we are living in. However,
Maybe his lobbyist wrote this for him.
Well, whenever an insurance commissioner embraces the Greta Thunberg worldview of global warming, what they're advocating for is an explosion in costs. Because Greta believes the world's ending in 10 years. And if you believe the world is ending in 10 years, then we're going to get hit with hurricanes and tornadoes and all of these things all the time because we're going to fall into the ocean. Well, if you're going to set the rates with those expectations, guess what the rates are going to be?
However, from this crisis, I developed a strategy to modernize our system.
That strategy is a failure. That strategy was sold as depopulating the FAIR plan, and it is bigger than ever. And now the insurers get to pass on those costs to us.
And people who aren't even in fire zones are being dumped on the FAIR plan.
To hold insurance companies finally accountable for wildfire survivors.
You literally aren't doing that.
What chutzpah do you have to go in a public forum and make that claim when the fire victims can't even get a call returned?
This is the guy that made sweetheart deals with the insurance companies over the 2 years of him crafting this new regulation that incentivized them to drop people in places like the Palisades and Altadena and in other parts of Northern California. He's the reason they started dropping everybody, because they knew that they could get way higher rates if they caused this crisis. He colluded with them.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that he even referenced his time as insurance commissioner. Because if you're speaking in front of an audience that's drunk, they're there because I guess it's a funded trip for them where they can party with their friends. They're not paying attention, as you correctly pointed out, to the words that are coming out of your mouth. So you don't have to do this. You don't have to lay it on this thick. For whatever reason, maybe a guilty conscience, he's deciding to do it.
To hold insurance companies finally accountable for wildfire survivors. Now consumers can enjoy the protections, and insurance companies are stabilizing and growing again in California.
None of that is happening.
What planet is he living on?
I know politicians, especially California politicians, are delusional. This is a very special kind of delusional.
Were these battles easy? Hell no.
So he likes to swear too.
Well, I haven't actually listened to this entire thing, so hopefully he doesn't swear any worse than that.
All right. We'll have more from Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, being the belle of the ball, the Hall of Fame, first ballot. You know, there's a lot of baseball players who spent a lot of time hitting home runs who didn't make it to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. But this guy did. 800-222-5222 is telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's show and you want to find out what you missed out on, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, and that could be the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download every episode. You could do a Google on the YouTube. You can get the free KABC app. You can get the free KSFO app. Get the KMJ Now app. We're on that station Saturdays at 2. So many different ways to listen live to these radio stations and download all the podcasts. And by the way, thank you to the people that emailed us. What Ricardo Lara said in Spanish and then didn't translate for the audience was, every cloud has a silver lining. Great.
How hallmark of them. Randy, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes a flock of seagulls to the Canyon and Agora Hills this Friday, December 12th. That's tomorrow. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by The Canyon, where music meets the soul. Good luck dialing.
Let's go back to first ballot Hall of Famer, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
All right, Ricardo, let's see what you have for us.
Were these battles easy? Hell no. Is the work complete? Absolutely not.
Uh-oh. Shang, you want in on the assist?
Let me see if I can do a very specific one.
Is the work complete?
All right, now I'm taking this, I highlight it, and I'm going to do a mix paste. Let's see if this works. Ready?
Were these
Ready.
battles easy? Hell no. Is the work complete?
Absolutely not.
Good job.
Now the Trump administration is attempting to strip protections for undocumented students, and many immigrant communities still lack access to health care despite legislation I authored to expand access to the Affordable Care Act in California.
How's that working out?
This speech is all about illegal aliens.
Yep.
But is that going to stop us? Hell no.
This is what you do when you're a shill for the insurance industry. You go out and you have to present yourself as being this left-wing warrior who spends all of your time fighting for illegal aliens. when in reality, your job is to say yes to State Farm whenever they want something.
Hell no. We're going to keep at it. These milestones were not just personal achievements, they represent our collective breakthroughs for the communities that have long been excluded from power. That's the whole purpose of us being here today. Being the first often means bearing the weight of skepticism, criticism, resistance. You all know this.
You know, like when John Garamendi said he needs to do his job, and Ricardo Lara said, no, John Garamendi's just a bigot.
I don't understand. Well, I do understand why he's doing it. But we talk about the criticism of Ricardo Lara on this program all the time. The criticism is about his performance as insurance commissioner. People are furious over that. The fact that he's gay is irrelevant to the anger that exists among ratepayers and homeowners and fire victims.
The only part that's relevant is when he, with taxpayer money, had a suite in New York at Pride to go see DJ Kitty Glitter.
Yes, including a lot of other travel that he hasn't provided proper receipts for.
Yet it also means opening the doors for others to walk through more freely. And the stark truth is that trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
Oh, come on. Now he's talking like he's one of Michelle Pfeiffer's students on Dangerous Minds.
And the stark truth is that trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
He, in his mind, and this may be a window into his mind, believes all of the criticism of his performance as insurance commissioner, failing to force the insurance companies to hold up their end of the bargain, and his globetrotting, where they failed to provide the proper documentation for all of these lavish trips around the globe that have nothing to do with the insurance market in California. He chalks that up to homophobia.
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
Is that the real him, or do you think he's trying to lay it on thick?
Would you take a job if the description is must make unpopular decisions?
You did. Twice.
But you don't have to make unpopular decisions.
Well, he's going to make decisions that are either unpopular for his constituents or unpopular for his benefactors. And for 7 years, he has chosen his benefactors every single time.
Well, think about it, though. If your position as insurance commissioner is, if there is a contract, we're going to force you to fulfill your obligations. And that's a two-way street. Because if you are the homeowner, you have to pay the premiums. And if you don't pay the premiums, don't expect the insurance company to write you a check. But if you pay the premiums and you have a contract, the insurance department should make sure that the insurance company pays out on what's in that contract. That's what they're failing to do.
Challenged interest, tackle complex problems with no clear solutions? Well, guess what? We all did.
What planet are you living on?
We all did. And you said, sign me up. And that's why we're here. And as you know.
Well, no, you are at the position you're at because you were termed out of the California legislature.
It is so appalling and disgusting that how much money do you think was spent on this dinner? Because it sounds like a black tie affair where there has to be a hotel ballroom, an open bar, people in tuxedos, awards being given out, air travel, hotels, you name it. 6-figure incomes to run this organization. And they have a self-congratulatory party for this guy.
Yep.
And as you know, Robert F. Kennedy once said, the real one, by the way.
What, are you saying that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. changed his name?
The
what
real
was his
one.
legal name? Lou Alcindor?
The real one. You know, the real one whose picture hung on my family's wall. Progress is a nice word we like to use, but
What progress?
Not for homeowners, not for fire victims.
What exactly has he done in the last 7 years that has improved the situation for people trying to own a home in California?
Well, what he's done to improve the situation over the last several years is he's executive platinum.
But change is its motivator, and change has its enemies. I live those words every day. Change is never easy, but it always is necessary, and it's always worth fighting for.
It's got to be tough to be this full of yourself.
I don't think so. Keep in mind, this is a guy that goes to these phony baloney conferences all over the globe while a state is burning down and no one can find permanent housing, the victims. And he travels with an entourage of aides and CHP officers so he doesn't have to wait in line at all the hot parties.
Mi madre siempre me dice, yo no me sacrifiqué venir a este país.
Wait, is the rest of this going to be in Spanish?
Quiero que me
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like we're doing Spanish for a while.
We are not victims.
Nope, we're back. Okay.
I can translate what he said.
What did he say?
Lucy, get over here. I'm putting you over my knee and spanking you again.
As a child, I really didn't fully grasp the meaning of her words or the immense responsibility she entrusted to us. Over time, I learned that her sacrifice was a call to rise above our own limitations. And let me tell you, if you ever meet Dolores Lara, you know, despite my complaints, there are no excuses, and we are not victims in our household.
How about fire victims?
Well, there are no
Maybe
victims.
He doesn't regard them as victims either.
We honored her. By her tremendous journey by striving for a better future. Y ese sacrificio nos recuerda que nuestras comunidades.
Okay, I think we're done with him.
Quite a speech, quite an award ceremony. And you know what? Here's the problem. The people in that room are important players in California politics. It's lobbyists, it's donors, it's elected officials, maybe celebrities, I don't know. It's the people in the room making the decision across the board in various aspects of life. And to them, he is someone worthy of honor. He is someone that they can bestow an award that they regard as, well, the Hall of Fame, the Mount Rushmore. They don't care that he is unethical. They don't care that the insurance industry is melted down. They don't care that fire victims are living through a never-ending hell, and he won't help them. That's not regarded as relevant. He's in office. He's the first LGBT statewide constitutional office holder. He hates Donald Trump. And he's doing everything he can for illegals. And that's good enough for them. And you know what? When the powers that be are okay with you and you haven't done enough to offend them, and occasionally elected officials do enough to offend them. Kevin De Leon managed to offend them, and they cast him out. They voted him off the island. What Kevin De Leon said on that tape was bad enough for them to all turn on him, and he became a pariah. But what Ricardo Lara is doing, which is infinitely worse than what Kevin De Leon did, infinitely worse, they don't have a problem with. And if the political power structure in the state doesn't have a problem with you, I am here to tell you, if he was eligible to run for another term as insurance commissioner, he would be reelected because he hasn't offended the Democratic Party, and this group is just an appendage of the Democratic Party. This is one slice of the Democratic Party, but it's reflective overall of where the Democratic Party is on him. And they celebrate him. He is not someone they don't want to answer questions about. He is someone that is in high standing. And that just shows you how screwed up this one-party state is. Now, given the fact that he is termed out and he would need to find another office to run for, he has a problem. Because there are Democrats with less baggage than him that would want to be lieutenant governor or county supervisor or whatever position it is that he's looking for. So why take someone with all of the baggage when you could take someone who doesn't have the baggage? So I think from that point of view, his career is over. But that's only because of term limits. If he was an incumbent in good standing, there is no way he's going to lose. No way. Because he hasn't offended them.
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
Unbelievable. If you want to weigh in on that, give us a call at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Kelly writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, I have a request. Can you take that new drop of Ricardo Lara, the one where he talks about being a trailblazer?
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable, yo.
And can you get Queen Elizabeth to say it?
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable. Yo.
The way she says it, she sounds like she could be on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland.
Trailblazing is rarely comfortable. Yo.
Yo ho, yo ho.
Hell no.
That speech was quite something.
Every day when I remember to, I just do a Google on the YouTube, I search for Ricardo Lara, and then I hit sort by date, and I find the funniest things that are out there. In fact, that's how I found the wig snatching speech when he was talking to a whole bunch of insurance people.
Do you think there was anyone sober enough in that room to hear what he said and look at the person sitting next to him and raise the eyebrow?
Hell no.
That's what I'm guessing. And that's why people like to go to these awards dinners and these conferences, especially if they're in some of the toniest hotels around the globe. Because that's what happens.
Well, and it shows you that results don't matter at all to these political action groups. It's all about getting somebody elected, and let's celebrate them because they got elected, not because they did any good in that office. And you can argue he's done nothing but harm in that office.
No joke. When I was a child, I used to go with my dad on some of these junkets. He wasn't an elected official or anything. He was a private businessman. But it doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's an industry association that you might be a member of. And occasionally they have retreats where they meet, where they talk about what's going to go down in your industry next year, people trying to sell things to you. Maybe they're rewarding you for buying a certain amount of the product. You know what I'm talking about. And what they would do is they would try to find a place that would entice people to go. You're never going to have one of those junkets in Tulsa because no one wants to go to Tulsa. But you can have it at Key Biscayne, Florida. You can have it in Scottsdale, Arizona. You can have it on a luxury cruise line. You can have it in the Caribbean. You can have it at different places that are consistent with where someone would spend their vacation if there wasn't business to be conducted. And I distinctly remember going on one of these things with my dad when I was a kid and looking at the program when we got there. And it's essentially enough business so you can write it off on your taxes, but just barely. And then they always have fun sorts of events that are part of it. And they have these dinners at night that all have open bars. And before they have the dinner with the open bar, they have the cocktail hour with the open bar. And before the cocktail hour with the open bar, everyone meets in the lobby to have drinks in the hotel bar. So by the time you get to the actual dinner, you're talking about a group of people who've already been drinking for 4 hours. And then in the morning, the next day, because everyone's hungover, they have an inspirational speaker. They have someone who's there who's supposed to give you words to live by. Someone who is well known, who is well liked, who gives you a canned speech. They take their $25,000 check and they move on. One of the years that I went there, it was Tommy Lasorda. Tommy Lasorda used to give those speeches all the time. And apparently he did it for every trade organization known to man. And if you think about it, every product has a trade association. The people who grow the almonds, the people who grow the peaches, the people who grow the pears. And for each one of them, Tommy would show up and give the inspirational speech. And I remember distinctly sitting at one of the tables where someone who was a Dodger fan and a fan of Tommy Lasorda was complaining about Tommy being there. And I said, well, why are you complaining about Tommy Lasorda being here? As a Dodger fan, this is a big deal. And he goes, well, I've seen Tommy give the same speech about a dozen times, and I can now recite Tommy's speech word for word. And he said, I like the guy who used to give the inspirational speech so much better than Tommy Lasorda because that speech was funnier. And I said, well, who was it? And he said, before Tommy Lasorda gave the speech at every conference every year, it was O.J. Simpson. That's what O.J. used to do. He used to show up to these things and give the speech when everyone was hungover. And then he became known for something else. What are you going to do? All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California hours next. Don't you go anywhere.